After a busy week of European club football, our attention is firmly on the Premier League for this week's sports spread, although we obviously can't ignore Saturday's small matter of El Clasico in Madrid. To discuss that and the likes of Man United versus Chelsea, I'm joined by Russ Wiseman of Sportingbet and Ian Axon of Reuters Sport. Gents, thanks as ever for joining us. Let's start off with Chelsea and Man United then, Ian. Chelsea can't stop scoring, but they've only got one fit striker now in the shape of Drogba. Is that a problem?
It is. And
how big a problem is
I think two big questions are going to be answered at the weekend about both teams. I've been looking forward to this game for a while because it will answer those questions. One, how did Chelsea get on when Diego Costa isn't fit? And I've been saying it all season as well, like Remy isn't fit either. So how do they cope with just Drogba up front potentially? And I really think that will be a test for Chelsea. Now, worried about their championship credentials at the start of the season because of that. They've been fantastic, but they're so reliant on Diego Costa. What happens when he's not fit? We're going to find out.
Well, they've got the likes of Schürrle, for example, who can step up.
Well, they have. I think here, though, Mourinho, I think he'll be quite happy with a point. Go to Manchester United, park the bus, come away with a point, try and hit them on the break as he did.
Even given their performances?
I think so. I think so. They've got a big lead in the table, haven't they? You know, Man United, on paper, it looks a difficult fixture because of the attacking talent that United have. So why not go there, be defensive, try and nick something on the break?
Why not go there and be attacking and make the most of their awful defence?
And we saw midweek Drogba, apart from the penalty, back in scoring form. But he didn't do that much against Maribor, who Chelsea stuffed 6-0. He's 36 years old, Drogba. I didn't really understand the logic behind bringing him back when you only had Remy and an injury-prone Costa. And I think they needed one more striker, Chelsea. But I fully expect them to get something out of the game. They might not win it, but a point at least. And the other question that will be answered is how good is this Manchester United team? They've been questionable all season. They've had the easiest start to the season anyone can remember. I keep banging on about it. They've played 8 teams who are fairly hopeless. Real test on at the weekend as to how good they are. Those signings that Van Gaal has made, they really need to step up to the plate because these are the games that Van Gaal has brought these players to win. Can they? I don't think so.
Russ, your view of Old Trafford, it certainly isn't the fortress of old. Do you think Louis Van Gaal can come up with a plan to stop Mourinho? He'll obviously be doing the mind games and parking the bus and all these other things, but can he stop him?
Well, he needs to, and whereas Ian says that he thinks that Chelsea will be happy with a point, I think if he was to give Louis Van Gaal a point now, he'd be delighted. And I always look at these games, the aura has gone from Old Trafford without question. You very rarely get a team going to Old Trafford as the favourite. We opened the book on this game at Tuesday night just to see what the kind of market would be like. We opened them just a bit above 6-4 Chelsea. We took a £50,000 bet straight away. We're now into 7-5. You've seen the graphic. All of the money is for Chelsea. I think basically what we're saying here is that people don't believe in Van Gaal. And Ian's points are very good on. They haven't played anyone yet. These guys look as though they're the champions-elect already, don't they, Chelsea? And if you're following money, it certainly looks as though they're going to do the business. The Sportingbet money at the moment, all for Chelsea. Can't see that stopping. At the moment, we're cheering on a draw or United to do the business. And that's a really rare thing, isn't it, when it comes about Old
But if you follow the money, surely you then put some money on Man United, don't you? Or just a small amount, just in case.
Well, you'll get more value, put it that way, and that's a fair point.
OK, well, I hesitate to say this. 4th playing host to 2nd, and the teams involved West Ham and Manchester City. Can West Ham continue their start? Well,
it's funny, Andy Carroll a couple of weeks ago said that with West Ham moving to the Olympic Stadium, they deserve Champions League football. They're in 4th place. If the season finished tomorrow, they would have Champions League football. But I can't see that happening. I think it's been a great start for West Ham. Good friend of mine's a West Ham fan, and he says they'll be coming down with the leaves this autumn, and I think that's probably realistic. But Manchester City did only draw in Moscow midweek,
having been 2-0 up.
Having been 2-0 up, and maybe that psychologically might play a bit of a part there, and the fact that they're struggling in the Champions League might get to the players. One of those games though, where if City score first, you can see them, going on to win relatively comfortable. But if the longer West Ham stay in the game, the better chance they have. Possibly a draw. I can't really see West Ham, turning over Manchester City. They're fairly awful against them last season as well. I think they lost 18-0 on aggregate or something over the course of a couple of Carling Cup games as well. So West Ham possibly can get a point, but the smart money has to be on Man City.
So as to Man City bounce back after the disappointment in Moscow?
I mean, Man City are a team, from a Sportingbet point of view, we like to be against because they're always a short price. But they've got elite players out there, haven't they? Like Silva and Aguero still look as though they can do the business at any level. 11-20 at the moment, Manchester City. I'll be with West Ham in this game. I think West Ham are a team, if you look what they've done so far, they've been far more impressive than the kind of nuts and bolts of their players. They've been really impressive. They're very good against Liverpool at home. I think City are in for a tough game here. I expect a flood of money for City as well, though. We're offering the best odds guaranteed in this match, as we will with all the Premier League games this weekend. And I do think we'll see a move on City. However, I think West Ham can get something from this. I don't think City are the team they were last year, and they're looking a bit tired for me. The results in Moscow certainly would be a blow to them. I think Allardyce and his men can capitalise on that as well. OK, our third featured game, before we run through the rest. Southampton flying high. One assumes they won't knock 8 past Stoke.
Well, so they would.
It's an assumption, nothing
like
more than that.
Like a cricket scoreline, wasn't it, last week against poor old Sunderland? Well, you'd have to say that lightning doesn't strike twice, but Southampton have been fairly brilliant this season. And given that a lot of people back them to go down at the start of the season because of the upheaval they had in the summer, Koeman, he's bought really well, picked out some really good players from the Dutch League. We have Dutch League highlights here at the weekend. And last season, Graziano, Pele and Tadic, two of the best players in the Eredivisie, and he's bought very well, and they've done the business on the pitch. So have to make them favourites against Stoke because of the performance against Sunderland last week. They're at home as well, but Stoke had a good win against Swansea under Mark Hughes. They play some nice football, so there could be plenty of goals in this match.
How do you look at this one, Russ? I mean, Stoke's defence presumably is a little bit more mature than Sunderland's.
Well, I think Southampton are a team that you react to the results that you see, don't you? And we had a flood of money for Southampton to finish top 4 at 8-1, and that's now into 6-1, and also Southampton to finish top 6 at 15-8. So people now have cottoned on to the fact that Koeman and his men are a very good outfit. Stoke, for me, though, are clearly a better side than they were under Tony Pulis. Mark Hughes is doing well there. They're playing a different brand of football. Good momentum behind the club. Good win against Swansea last week. 4-7 here, Southampton. Very short price indeed. Again, you look at the value, it has to be with Stoke. They wouldn't have been this price. They've probably been around about even money if we go back about 3 weeks. Clearly the momentum with them, but you have to look at the prices. 4-7, too short for me. I think Stoke can probably come away with something, but that's more in hope than in demanding, I must say, Aj.
Let's move on. Let's just go through the other games, and you can just say home win or whatever. Liverpool-Hull? Hull difficult, but Liverpool.
You'd have to fancy Liverpool at home, although they struggled obviously midweek against Real Madrid. Psychologically, again, we talk about Man City and the effect that Champions League loss has. Maybe a struggle, but I fancy Liverpool to win maybe 2-1.
Can't be with Liverpool. 4-11. They're just not playing well, are they? And again, I look at the value. Ian's probably right. They should win the game, but 4-11 too short for me.
Okay. Sunderland, Arsenal. Cricket score.
Well, they say a dead cat bounces. Can a dead black cat bounce? I fancy Sunderland actually to bounce back. I mean.
Not enough, surely.
Well, Poyet's got to have given them a stern talking to, I would have thought, midweek. And Arsenal travelled in the Champions League. I wouldn't be surprised if Sunderland got something out of that game. One of the best bets of the weekend for me is the draw in this one, actually. I think Sunderland probably... They'd take that now, wouldn't they? I think they would, but again, Arsenal were rubbish, weren't they, and for big periods against Anderlecht. I don't think they're the team that they probably look as though they are, and I think Sunderland can maybe get something. A draw for me, 13-5. OK, grudge match, West Brom, Crystal Palace, Ian? I've got to go for the Palace, surely. OK. West Brom impressed me, though, against Manchester United. But it'd be a tougher game for Palace. Maybe a draw. Yeah. I guess. For me, I've been going against a lot of favourites on the coupon this weekend. This is one favourite I won't be opposing. I think West Brom too good for Palace. Should be too strong. They looked a good side against United. Interesting. I'll put my money on Palace then. Swansea, Leicester. High scoring win for Swansea, I think. Okay. Yeah, I'll go along with that. I think that's a fair call. I think there's plenty of goals in this game, and Swansea should do the business as well. Easy one to call, Burnley, Everton? No, not that easy, because Burnley, I think the atmosphere will be good at home. Everton travel Thursday night, Europa League, always tough. They are improving though, Everton, and they've been a bit unlucky. They've had a tough start to the season. So I fancy them to win, but it won't be easy. Yeah. Right. Burnley have to identify some games they're going to give it everything, and odds on Everton for me is too short. I think Burnley can get something in this game again, 100-30. Maybe they can sneak a win. Okay. Tottenham, Newcastle. A horrible one to watch. Tottenham to sneak it. I think maybe 1-0. But it won't be one for the neutral. Yeah, I agree with actually this one. I think under 2.5 goals is the play here. I know the graphic will see that Spurs are 8-11. Yeah. We're 8-11 at the moment. I still think we'll see money at 8-11 at Sportingbet. But could you really back Newcastle under 4-1?
Not for me. They've got a desperate record still when it comes to London, so not for me.
QPR Aston Villa finally.
I thought QPR showed their naivety against Liverpool. They should have won the game. Couldn't finish. Couldn't hold on to the point that they
played well apparently for most of the game, didn't they?
They played well, but the problems there. I think Redknapp may be on his way out. A draw at best for QPR.
I'll go with QPR. I thought they played well again. I think you were right there. They played well for big portions of the game though, and I think Villa away from home probably don't have a lot to offer. It's good to go against Ian as well a little bit. So let's go with QPR there, 27-20.
Brilliant. Okay, finally then, El Clasico in Madrid. Luis Suarez able to commence his Barcelona career against none other than Real Madrid. How do you predict this one, or do you? I mean, it's throw the balls in the air, don't you? Well,
I think you do a little bit. Obviously, all the focus will be on Suarez at the weekend, and
if he plays.
Well, I think he will. Yeah. He'll have a role. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he started, maybe come on from the bench. But there'll definitely be a role for him there somewhere. He's got to be match fit, I would have thought, because he's been training with Barca. He's had a couple of games for Uruguay as well, and the kind of player that always looks fit and hungry, pardon the pun. So you back him to have an impact. Probably plenty of goals, both teams fairly free scoring. Barcelona have had the edge in the Clasico, I think, for the last 6 or 7 years. Real have only won twice since 2008. So I would fancy Barcelona to get something out of the game. Probably they'd be happy with a point, maybe a high scoring draw. But it'll be fascinating to watch as ever, because the players on the pitch are brilliant, aren't they? Ronaldo, Bale and Rodriguez for Real Madrid, and likes of Messi and Neymar, and now Luis Suarez for Barcelona. So sit back and enjoy.
Want to enjoy it. What does the market make of it?
Well, brilliant game and very close. I mean, it's surprising actually for me that Barcelona are just a hair away from being favourites in this game. Slight favourites Real Madrid. Fascinating that Barcelona haven't conceded a goal in the league this year. An incredible record in 8 games. But Real Madrid have scored 30 goals in 8 games. So something has to give. I think for me the key thing here is the pressure is on Ancelotti's men. They have to win the game. They're 4 points behind here, and in that league now, even though we say what a wonderful league the Spanish league is, you cannot afford to drop points at this stage. If a gap, if it opened now, would be too much to overcome even this early part of the season. So I think Real Madrid are under pressure. Could play into Barcelona's hands, but I think it'll make the league interesting. I'll take Real Madrid to break that clean sheet duck for Barcelona this season and nick the game as well.
OK, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for that. That is all for now. My thanks to Russ and to Ian. Join us again next week when we'll be back with all the action on the pitch. I'm Nigel Stevenson. This is Reuters.